Today is the day one of the demo session. There will be one more session. We're planning for the 2 demo sessions. If for any reason, if we shoots out of the time, there will be one more probably. But yeah, thank you very much for joining in today. Myself, I'm Satya. I'm your trainer for this, the entire sessions. So I'm holding 12 plus years of experience in the entire IT. Currently, I'm working as an architect, enterprise architect. Mainly, deals on the various different enterprise applications with a key focus on Oracle, Fusion tech stack. So let me just share my screen. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to walk you through over the uh, overall everything and anything about Oracle Fusion application today. As far as the today's demo is concerned, uh, I request if someone is not talking, kindly please go on mute. Thank you. Okay, so as far as the today's demo concerns, I'll be primarily going through this agenda. We'll first quickly start about what exactly an ERP. Considering we have a mixed set of audience on the call who are freshers and looking for a job opportunity in this space. Plus, there are some seasoned developers who maybe they are currently their ERP, e-business suite developers who wanted to upgrade their to Oracle Fusion. Considering that, we'll be just quickly talking about what exactly an ERP, how businesses are going to benefit, with the ERP with a solid real-time example. Then we'll quickly jump into the introduction to the Oracle Fusion applications. We'll be talking about a little bit on the Fusion architecture, right? And the cloud deployment models, in terms of where it gets deployed, how a customer gets accessed, and so on. We will be talking about SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS, cloud delivery models, right? And then we'll be also talking about the cloud application product families, nothing but the modules within the Oracle Fusion application offerings, right? And then we'll kind of jump into more technical aspects like, data loading, how the data loading happens, how Oracle Fusion accepts the data into it, and how do we extract the data out of it in terms of doing the outbound integrations. We will be also covering the cloud reporting tools, what are different tools available in the Oracle Fusion, like BI, OTBI, and FRC, and so on. And then we'll be jumping into a little bit about the personalization option. Being a SaaS offering, we'll see what kind of personalizations we can make. And then we'll focus a little bit on the security aspect of it, which is a key element in the entire Fusion applications. And then we kind of conclude with workflows in the Oracle Fusion application. I mean, during the course of the session, if you have any questions, feel free to stop me. I'll be happy to help you out with it. Okay. Okay, let's get started, right? Um, what exactly an ERP is, right? So by definition, I'm sure many of you may aware, or probably some of you may be hearing this for the first time. ERP means, enterprise resource planning, right? So you take any business, right? Be it a small business, a medium scale business, or even a big business, right? It's important, that they need some kind of a mechanism in place to carry out their operations effectively. Okay, I'm sure if you take a small business, you take any of the small business, probably they may be maintaining all the operations in a small book or in an Excel, to know what is that they are spending to purchase those goods, right? How much they are selling out, right? How much they are paying for their rental and, other various expenses. So at the end, a business is all about how much I'm investing, how much I am getting the profits, or what are my losses, having some insights, right? Take any business, you take starting from a milk parlor, or a saloon, or a vegetable vendor. You take anything, if you talk about a very small scale spaces. But if you go to a little bit of medium scale, like selling mobile phones, having your own shop, or think about a big enterprise like e-commerce sites like Amazon, Flipkart, Apple, Samsung. You take any of these businesses, like take your other businesses, like in the manufacture, I mean in a different industries, like take your car manufacturers, and you take any business at a bottom level. As long as the business is small, as long as your transactions are, let's say, if your profits are in just thousands, probably you just need to maintain in a small book. Okay, this is my expense. This is what I spent for some kind of purchases, from suppliers, and then this much I got. Profits and something like that. I mean, as long as you keep growing from thousands to lakhs and lakhs to crores, right? It's not really possible to maintain things in a small Excel, or a small in a book. Basically, it's extremely difficult because you're growing your business at phase. Uh, you, the people you talk to, which means the customers you talk to. The customers who come to your shop, or your website to make purchases is growing tremendously. And the amount of suppliers you talk to, to procure your goods is also growing. So all in all, right, in a simple nutshell, any company which is like depending on how big they are, they certainly need some kind of an enterprise resource planning software. So in a nutshell, when we talk about enterprise resource planning software, right, um, this is needed to manage all your key business processes, like be it financial aspects of it, like how much you're getting, how much you're paying taxes, how much you are investing on your own offices and your own infrastructure. And certainly when there is an entity established, that means an office established, there will be HR operations. You are going to hire people, you're going to pay them, you're going to deal with their all employee related aspects, and sales aspects of it, and supply chain aspects of it, like say what you're purchasing from the suppliers, because at the end what you are selling is may not be direct product of your company. It may be an assembly of various different products, right? If you take the mobile phone as an example, do you think mobile phone vendors like Samsung, Apple, everything they produce on their own? No. Apple, for example, goes to Samsung for their displays, right? For the chipset, they design their own chipsets on their own. There will be thousands and thousands of individual products they procure from different vendors, and then they finally assemble, and then they say designed by Apple in California, and they sell it out, right? So that's where the supply chain in your manufacturing, everything really comes together. So to keep it simple, let's keep it simple for now. Let's don't make complicated, let's digest slowly, okay? In a nutshell, ERP is what a suite of software to basically deal with all your operations. Okay. Um, Now, who are the people? I mean, who are the vendors, the leading vendors in the market, who provide this kind of software, right? So primarily we have a handful of vendors. One is Oracle. Oracle Fusion, it goes by a product called Oracle Fusion. It certainly have a very good market cap currently, and in the recent years, the market cap keeps on increasing because of its cloud footprint. So many of the companies, medium to large scale companies, certainly their preferred choice is to go with Oracle Fusion applications. Having said that, because the market footprint is high and it keep on adding more and more customers year by year, the opportunities for the technical and techno-functional people are pretty high in the global markets, not just in India. Okay, and another vendor is NetSuite. So NetSuite is also belong to Oracle, but primarily it's also kind of ERP, but it is mainly target for small to medium scale businesses, right? And there is another vendor called SAP. You might have heard about it. Very large scale companies generally, implements it, and then certainly it is super expensive. Okay, and another player is Microsoft Dynamics. It's from Microsoft. Certainly, it does also have a decent base of implementations. And then the last one is Infor. This vendor is kind of coming up recently, but all in all, right, anywhere you go, in most of the companies, you keep hearing these names. Oh, we have an Oracle ERP as our ERP system. We have NetSuite. We have SAP. These kind of vendors basically. Okay, I'll move on to the next step. Do anyone have any questions here?
One question. Okay. So what is the comparison between Oracle Cloud and SAP Cloud? Is there anything coming for SAP Cloud kind of thing?
I mean, comparison in the sense, right? Since I cannot speak much about the SAP functionalities, as an enterprise architect, I know how the tool works and, there's certain few functionality. Since I'm not an expert, certainly from a true comparison standpoint, I couldn't really give you the insights. But in general, very large companies generally go with SAP. And again, it's not that only large companies opt and small companies opt Oracle. Nothing like that. It's all about their business model and their pricing, investments, their budget, to implement a specific project. And in a long term, how beneficial we are, what is my rate of interest, okay? What is my return of interest, basically, ROI, they go with it. So it's all decides at a pretty high level in any organization, which particular software vendor we need to choose, go for. Okay, and it is also, for example, Oracle is known for its robust financial suite of products. It doesn't mean that they are not good with SCM, HCM, or other aspects of it, but it is pretty known for financial. So if your company is mainly deals with financials, as your transactions, as your products, right? So obviously, your obvious choice is Oracle Fusion Cloud, right? At the same time, in the recent years, Oracle is picking up a lot of momentum on HCM Cloud. Earlier in the market, we have SAP's SuccessFactors and Workday are the dominating players. Okay. However, in the recent years, you can check. This is not my own observation. There are Gartner reports. Anyone can verify on the internet. Over the last few years, Oracle's own HCM suite of products are really picking up momentum and grabbing a good market share. So, and for example, if you take SAP, right? SAP's Ariba system is known for managing for procurement. They're really good with, some of the supply chain aspects and procurement related aspects. I've seen a lot of companies, they have SAP's Ariba only for the procurement, and the rest of the things are with Oracle. So it all varies, what kind of business you are in, which country you belong to, what kind of support and what kind of references you have with that, and what is my cost appetite like, down the line, because these enterprise software applications are heart of the company. And choosing the right product and implementation may, if they made wrong choice, there are high chances that they're going to hit a very wrong phase in their overall company's life cycle. So that's why, right, because this is the heart of it, people generally take very thorough and detailed analysis performed on it and consider various different elements and take the call. Does it answer your question, Dheeraj?
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Now, guys, let's take. I've spoken a lot, right? Like, trying to speak in some technical terms, and some of you might be puzzling a bit, still maybe figuring out what exactly is ERP. So I've brought a real-time example, right? I'm sure after this explanation, you're really going to get a full clarity, on what exactly an ERP and how does companies, big companies can benefit using them, right? So let's take Amazon as an example, right? I'm sure every one of you some or other time might have used Amazon, for all your shopping needs, online shopping needs, right? So it's a global e-commerce gain, right? That maybe relays on ERP. This is just an example. I'm not stating that Amazon is using Oracle Fusion applications, but I'm just taking a relevant example for your, so that you can relate it. You can take any company for that matter, Samsung, Apple, Flipkart, anything basically. But I'm just taking Amazon as an example here. So being, e-commerce gained, right? It can rely on ERP systems like, Oracle Fusion applications to manage its. I'm sorry, is there a question? Okay. So basically to manage its massive operations across the CRM space, SCM space, financial space, and HCM space. So let's take a quick example, right? So generally, uh, the scenario what I want to take is, let's say you as a customer visits the Amazon website. What you generally do, you browse the products and then place an order, right? So it all happens on an Amazon website, but behind the screens, right, there is an Oracle Fusion offering called CRM, Customer Relation Management. So CRM Cloud can power this entire end to end, starting from customer visits to browsing products to placing an order. So basically, imagine how many millions of users logged in and create their accounts in the Amazon, right? So we call them as, for Amazon, we call them as customers. We are all customers to Amazon. So basically CRM's, customer data management can capture the customer information, such as your name, addresses, purchasing history, and your browsing behavior. So these can all be captured and stored in the Oracle CRM cloud basically. And not only that, using these CRM inbuilt features, right, you can also get the personalized recommendations. I'm sure most of you might got a lot of recommendations when you log in and browse certain products and kind of come out, and then a couple of days later when you log in, you keep on seeing the relevant products. Example, I kind of looked at to purchase some laptop, and I keep getting some recommendations about other laptops in the same range, and also the accessories associated with some bags and some chargers and whatever which are relevant. How do you think it is happening, right? So generally you can think of a CRM suite, like Oracle CRM suite is powering up such recommendations. And another common, I'm sure you can relate, is marketing automation. I'm sure sometimes you may also get frustrated that there are so many emails are coming from Amazon. They are all like targeted marketing campaigns. Talking about the seasonal offers, or talking about some, or highlighting your abandoned cart reminders. I'm sure, right? You may have a lot of wish lists added into your Amazon cart, thinking that to buy later, or maybe when thinking to buy when there is a discount happen on it, right? I'm sure you might have received a lot, right? So basically, these kind of things, can taken care by one of the offering within the Oracle Fusion called CRM Cloud. Now, moving on to the other next step aspect of, right? Let's say now you place the order, right? So how is Amazon ensuring that the product is delivered on time? This is where Oracle's SCM cloud is powering this, which means supply chain management. Don't worry if you're new with this CRM, SCM. If you are new with these terminologies, I'll ensure we'll give a little more details when we get into the actual course content. But for now, I'm trying to keep it very simple. So how does Amazon ensures that the product is delivered on time, right? So basically this is how it is. Like there is something called some offering or module called supply chain management. So this is where, right, when I place an order, there is something called inventory management. This is where tracking of your stock levels across fulfillment centers. And when I say fulfillment center, right, let's say I am sitting here, let's say I'm sitting in Bangalore or Hyderabad, right? Let's say take I'm sitting in Hyderabad and then making some order, right? Let's say I purchased a mobile phone. Now I placed an order for the mobile phone. But basically, how does Amazon really telling like what is the overall stock for that particular model? Let's say I'm purchasing a S24 Ultra from Samsung, and like I mean, there are so many people are ordering it, right? How is it ensuring to show the on-hand quantity? Like, if maybe the stock is 10,000 phones or 5,000 phones, right? So for each purchase, for each order, the number have to reduce, right? At the same time, when I talk about fulfillment centers, I'm sure Hyderabad being a big city, um, the product delivery happen within the closer proximity, right? There are fulfillment centers, which means there is no need of getting a phone from Kolkata or Bangalore until unless there is no, excuse me, just a second, guys.
चांगलं आहे. जास्त बिलकुल करू नये. छातीवर हे होतं.
Yeah. So, how do you think that the tracking of the stock levels across the fulfillment centers, if I mean, let's say if the warehouse in the Hyderabad runs out of the stock, SCM can route to the nearest location and then, still fulfill your, automatically. So these are all like basically taken care by SCM Cloud. And also, right, imagine Amazon is an e-commerce vendor. It doesn't, though it has its own products, like in the name of Amazon Basics, but basically most of the products are belong to different suppliers. In this example, whatever I've taken Samsung, right? In this case, the supplier is Samsung. Let's say they have their inventory of, let's say, 500 phones, and now almost 400 phones got ordered out, which means you're going to be low on inventory, right? In that case, you need to place a procurement order to the Samsung vendor, telling that, hey, ensure ship me say another 500 phones. So basically, using the procurement module, right, you can automatically replenishes your stock by placing supplier orders, based on all the predictive analysis. Okay. And there is something called order fulfillment. Basically, in a simple terms, right, there are advanced algorithms, these enterprise resource planning softwares can employ, and they do the best fulfillment center. Basically, select the best fulfillment center, the delivery route, ensure the faster shipping. For example, if you're a Prime member, you deserve to get, I mean, you're entitled to get the same day delivery. If I am not a Prime member, probably it may take. So do you think someone sitting and making this call? Absolutely no, right? Everything is automated using these aspects. And also, managing all your returns effectively, updating inventory. If there is a defective product you got, or you don't like the product and you opt for the return, and certainly again, as long as the product is good, they need to again, update the inventory levels and, deal with the supplier agreements in case if there is a defective product comes in, right? That's one element. And another element is, right, another process element is so far we kind of discussed about like how the orders process behind the screens, right? And another element is your now when the customer completes their payment, how does Amazon processes the transaction, right? This is where we enter into the Oracle financial space, basically, right? So basically, Oracle Financial Cloud powers, we call the module we call as account receivable. Anything you receive from your customers is account receivable. So this is where all the, even the tax aspects also comes into the picture. Because you see, right, depending on from where you are purchasing, the automatically the GST gets calculated. If it's in India, it is GST. If it's in UK, it is VAT, right? Or if it's in US, it will be a sales tax, depending on the customer location. Obviously, at the end, you're making a business, doing a business for figuring out your revenue, right? Like, the revenue recognition is extremely important, right? How much you're spending on overall infrastructure, everything all together. But there is something called revenue recognition module. That is where you basically deal with, basically have an insights on how is my revenues looking like, right? Right. Yeah. Just few minutes back, I kind of explained you, right? When there are stocks are lowing down, you are going to reach out to your suppliers, right? Like, because at the end you need to stock up, be it, let's say you're talking about laptops, you will be reaching out to Dell. Hey, look, this particular model is, running out of stock. So internally, basically, you place orders to the suppliers. So what happens is the suppliers are going to fulfill and, bump up your inventory items, right? And then you are going to pay them, certainly, right? You means Amazon is going to pay them, right? So this is we call account payable. So this is where all the payable happens. Even this account payable is not just for the supplier purchase items. Generally, you take take the same Amazon company. How many countries it have? Within India, it have a good number of locations, right? Be it Bangalore or Hyderabad, some other. So there will be a building, it may be on lease, right? Once there is a building, there will be an infrastructure cost, all your tables, chairs, computers, everything all together. So to procure all that, to set up all that, you need to again place orders from your procurement model, module basically. Once you make those procurement orders, right, basically, you need to pay at the end. So that's why account payable is what is going out of the Amazon's pocket, for their own operations, for their own, employee related aspects. Employee related assets aspects. Like, because if you onboard an employee, you need to definitely give a laptop, right? So obviously, Amazon is going to make a purchase of 10,000 laptops, right, from a Dell or Lenovo or Apple. So certainly your employees are going to get those laptops, and Amazon is going to pay those respective vendors. So that's where this whole procurement aspects comes into the picture. Okay, so like that, right? So basically, you can have a very streamlined suite of products to do the entire operations, starting from submitting the orders to managing the orders to managing the payments, everything as a whole. Right. And also these kind of suites, ERP suites, Oracle suites comes also with a very good financial reporting to give you a clear view on the real-time dashboards, like, profits by reason, profits by product category or a certain time period. During the Great Indian Festival time frame, what are my profits by reason? So like that, so you can get a very meaningful insights to really takes proper actions on them, right? So and lastly, right, at the end, once within the financials, you have something called financial recognition. This is where, like, all your reconciliation happens, because at the end, it's all about figuring out what are my losses, what are my assets, what are my profits is all about. So in the financials, a company will get a very clear view of their financial health. Lastly, right, one more important aspect is HCM, which is like, imagine there are so many humans, right, despite so much of automation, but there will be a human specific, human employees, like basically like us, will be handling various different operations and teams, playing roles in multiple teams, right? So generally, the moment there are employee force, you need again a system to manage them. Let's say Amazon offices employ thousands of staff globally, right? And HCM cloud can handle all the HR operations, like starting from employee onboarding to maintaining their office locations, job roles, what kind of assets has been assigned, and the payroll aspects of it and the compliance aspects of it. Everything can be taken within the HCM. Okay, so I hope you're getting what I'm trying to say. In a nutshell, this is what, like, by taking this as an example. You can actually relate this example to any company. You think that this is how you evolve in your thinking, and you can relate to what you are basically learning. Okay, so I'll take a pause here. Anyone have any questions?
What is full form of HCM?
Human capital management.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, guys? Okay, I'll move to the next slide. Now here, right? So let's get a little deep into, what exactly, I mean, basically, let's try to learn more about Oracle Fusion applications, right? So Oracle Fusion applications are something they built on certain open standard based, platform, right? When I say open standard based, platform, right? So what does it mean? So basically, I mean, for creating a products like Oracle Fusion, right? There are there are certain standards based architecture has been employed. When we say standards based architecture, right? Um, Probably they are built, I mean, they are basically built on widely accepted and established open standards and technologies. I mean, if I take an example, if you know the world of Java E enterprise application, right? It's a widely used Java enterprise. I mean, this has been used across various different web applications, right? So even like Oracle Fusion applications that literally uses Java Enterprise Edition certainly to build. Of course, they use a specific close-ended framework like application ADF, application development framework. But despite of that fact, right, there are certain elements like what we call your HTML5 and CSS3 and JavaScript. These kind of elements are extensively used, or these kind of scripting languages, or the languages like HTML generally have the structure of the website. CSS is all takes care of your presentation, right? And then JavaScript takes care of behavior of an application. So these technologies or frameworks are not something proprietary to Oracle, right? So it's their open standard, web open standard. So that's why, right, we call this application is basically developed by leveraging some of these standards based architecture. Other than that, right, it also heavily uses SOA, which means service oriented architecture, right? I hope you might have heard it. If not, SOA is again from the Oracle's. Oracle have a SOA product. So basically, you have a UI, right? There is a three-tier architecture, right? I'm sure you might have heard. Any application you take, there will be a three-tier architecture. That means there is a UI layer, there will be a service layer, and there will be a database layer. Just to put it in very simple terms, you take any application, right? And that service, the UI is what you see basically, but the services is like, for example, for example, I have applied some filters on my Amazon website, or I kind of searched for a specific product. Behind the screens, there will be a service gets invoked, and then it will talk to database and get back to you the results in the real time. So basically, there will be always services in between, right? That's what that is where the service oriented architecture is heavily employed. And because SOA, I mean, Oracle SOA is something a flavor, but SOA itself basically an open standard architecture for designing all your reliable and reusable services that can communicate to different layers like UI to database and to different applications using standard protocols. And another you might have heard, if not, like maybe you're hearing this for the first time, depending on your experience and how you, I mean, if you're starting just for the fresh now. So there is something like, SOAP, SOAP, okay, and XML. So these are like also REST, right? These are protocols, web service protocols, widely adopted open standards, in the enterprise application space. You take any application in the current time, you will definitely see how do we communicate. When I say we, how do one application communicates with other application? The most common standard protocols are web services, right? In that, widely used web services are REST web services. Okay, of course, there are new things are evolving like GraphQL and stuff, but as far as our Oracle Fusion concerns, that's something that's not something really important. So when we say web standards, this is what it means. Certain elements of it are leveraged or used by taking, by employing these open web standards and build this product. Okay. Another element is your universal content management. Universal content management is something, this is where all your application specific images, attachments, all the data files will be stored. Okay, so think like a content management is like a server to basically keep your attachments. For example, you take, I'm sure you might be, when you submit an order in the Amazon, there will be invoice copy gets generated, right? So think like that as a business transaction attachment. Okay, like that if there is a purchase order, there will be an attachment, right? Like that if there is an expense report, there will be an attachment, right? So the bottom line is this universal content management offers you a place where to store all your business document transaction specific attachments at one place, right? Another element is Web Center. Oracle Web Center is a product, which is mainly it does a pretty lot of different aspects. But one common aspect is like doing your optical character recognition, right? Generally to automate a business process in a quicker way, which means there is a PDF copy, invoice copy, right? One way of entering a invoice is like manually looking at it and entering it. But other efficient way is by using tools like Oracle Web Center, you can automate that optical character recognition, right? So that is one element of it, right? And another aspect is like business intelligence, right? I told you about the financial reporting capabilities, right? Oracle is certainly have a very strong base at a layer within the entire three-tier architecture, where it strongly embedded with business intelligence capabilities to present, report, your organizational data. Okay. So, right, that is one thing. Now going back here, right, what other aspect is, right, based on the best practices, business processes. What does that mean? Okay, which basically means, okay, see, Oracle is not a small organization. It's been there for decades, and over the period of time, it kind of, acquired a lot of products. Of course, Oracle e-business suite is not an acquired, it's in their own native product. Even still, it is there in the current times. It's a pretty old product, but still many companies uses it. Oracle Fusion is like an, excuse me. Oracle Fusion is basically a cloud-based offering of Oracle e-business suite. Whatever I just said, in terms of its functionalities, how an Oracle Fusion helps the companies like Amazon, Samsung, Apple, right? The same way Oracle e-business suite can also be helpful, but it is just that it is not cloud-centric application. It is an on-premise application, which is like old. It does, the technology stack is old, which is not contemporary to the current times. Okay, so but basically there are other products like PeopleSoft, which got acquired by Oracle, which means, I mean, which is pretty famous, for its HR specific offerings, and JD Edwards, pretty famous for their SCM capabilities, supply chain management capabilities. Siebel is also an acquired product by Oracle, which is like basically pretty good with the CRM, related customer relationship management related processes. So when I say when they build the Oracle Fusion applications, right, they took the best of all the applications they have in their portfolio. So out of all these four products I mentioned, they kind of picked up the best functionalities, and they kind of prepared a brand new product. So that's why, right, you really get a streamlined and flexible performance basically end user can get once they implement Oracle Fusion for any of their business operations. Okay, now yeah, the another aspect is deployed through a selection of options. So what does that mean? Basically, you take any application, guys, right? When you are a customer, when you are implementing it, right? In what are the choices you have or the deployment options you have, to basically operate that, or to maintain that or manage that. For example, right, take the e-business suite as an example, right? That one as an on-premise application. When I say on-premise application, you take any application, you take this three-tier architecture I told, right? Your web application, your web and your service layer, your database layer. For every application, right, in a simple terms, there will be a need of infrastructure, right? When I say infrastructure, you must have servers, and then on top of that there will be OSS, I mean operating system, right? And then there must be a network associated with it, there must be a storage associated with it, right? Think like your personal computer, right? Imagine it's a server by itself, right? So depending on what kind of tasks you do, you choose that kind of a model. If you are a heavy intense gamer, a normal laptop doesn't sufficient for you, right? It needs a specific configuration with the GPUs and CPU with a top clock speed, and a very good RAM, and a good SSD, NVMe SSDs for good read-write operations, something like that. So basically the same case applicable for your enterprise applications also, right? There will be an infrastructure layer, right? Infrastructure layer, OS layer, platform. There are so many layers in it. So why I am telling all this? Oracle Fusion applications have a flexibility of getting deployed in the on-premise, which means it is totally managed by the client itself, right? But these days, this is not recommended. People are not really going with this on-premise option, but primarily what people are going is other three options, like which is SaaS. How many of you heard of the terminology called SaaS? Anyone heard on the call? Or is it the first time you're hearing SaaS? Great. Great, man. Okay. So basically, right, so when we say SaaS, right, it's software as a service. So while I talk about SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS, in subsequent slides, but let's understand what exactly a public cloud. So public cloud is something, all your resources like, your storage, compute, and networking are basically hosted on Oracle's data center. There is a Oracle's own cloud offering called OCA, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, right? I'm sure you might have heard Amazon Web Service, the AWS, right? I'm sure you might have heard Azure, right? I'm sure you might have heard Google Cloud, right? I'm sure you might have heard Alibaba Cloud, which is famous in the Chinese region, right? So Similarly, right, Oracle also have its own cloud infrastructure called OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, basically. Okay, so within that infrastructure, all your SaaS applications will be hosted. So when we say public cloud, it is hosted by Oracle, maintained by Oracle. I'll tell another relevant example so that everyone can relate. I'm sure if most of you might be using email services like Gmail or Outlook or live.com, right, from the Microsoft and Google. It's a classic example of SaaS, or it's a classic example of public cloud, basically, which means it is accessed over the internet. That www.gmail.com is accessed via a browser, and it is offering you certain features to write emails, send emails, star emails, bookmark emails, create folders, apply themes, schedule emails. So it is like the option is public. It's a SaaS and it's public cloud. I mean, any one of you using it, are you really maintaining its servers? Are you really worried about adding new features? Are you really worried about the performance, efficiency, anything? Nothing, right? You as an end user, whether you're paying or you're getting it for free, you are just simply consuming those services and making your life productive, right? You're just leveraging them, and the Gmail is helping you with the day-to-day transactions to communicate with the various different parties. So you can simply think like that. Okay. Now, another example is a private cloud. When we say private cloud, right, we also call this as OCA dedicated region. And again, guys, for your information, if you're getting confused about any of these terms like on-premise, public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, these terminologies are not just owned by Oracle. Understand? So these terminologies are something common across all vendors. Pretty much the definitions I'm telling is going to be same for all the cloud vendors out there. Okay, it is just that certain terminologies, for example, in the private cloud, right, I said OCI dedicated region. We call the private cloud as OCI. That's a Oracle specific name. Understand? So in a simple terms, a private cloud is it's a single tenant environment, which means basically whatever the application it is there, right, it is hosted on the organization's premises. You take an example. I'll give you an example. You take your banking operations, take HDFC, ICICI, right? There are also available via internet, but their infrastructure is hosted on the HDFC's own data centers, because they cannot trust any cloud vendor with this kind of sensitive data. Okay, so that's where, right, there are certain healthcare organizations also, despite it is a cloud offering, but where the data sits is extremely important. The data hosting, like the controls over those servers is extremely important, because there are certain compliance bodies like GDPR, PCI DSS, for healthcare it's HIPAA. So these kind of boards, right, they were very strict compliance regulations that where the control lies, because these are all sensitive information. If anything gets leaked, it's like a big chaos, right? Like for any of these, because patient related, health related information is super confidential, and similarly your financial information is super confidential, right? So basically it is like in a private cloud, it's hosted by Oracle, but it sits behind a firewall, and it's pretty much like maintained by Oracle, but the ownership of that everything will be sits with the customer. Another important option is hybrid cloud. So hybrid is like it's a mix of both your on-premise and cloud offerings, basically, right? So what we call is like Oracle Clouded Customer. We also call this way. Think like this, right? Let's say there is a manufacturing company with legacy applications, right? So assume that the manufacturing company is running their ERP. Let's say they are using Oracle E-Business Suite, which is on-premise. Okay, but however, they wanted to use certain advanced analytics and AI services. For that, they might have opted some, OCI's Oracle Cloud Infrastructure's AI services. So now, if you look at their model, right, their ERP system is sitting on-premise. However, their analyticals is sitting on cloud. Now, this is a hybrid setup basically. That means for you to get the proper, meaningful insights using those AI analytics, right? You need to feed your ERP's data to this particular AI services, right? Like the whatever the cloud offering. So that is what, in a simple terms, a hybrid setup is. Okay. So that's in short, about, basically, if I conclude this aspect, right, it's built on open standards, and then certainly it's the best of all the other Oracle products, and it have a wide variety of this. It does have quite a good flexibility dealing with them. Okay. Any questions on this front? Okay. Let's get into the important elements, right? This is where like Oracle have a product families. So in the SaaS, right, when we say product families, now you can connect the dots. So far I've been talking about terms like SCM, CRM, HCM. I'm talking about payables, account receivables, and these kind of things, right? Basically, they were all categorized under these different product families. If you talk about financial management, right? This is where all your the money you're getting for the goods you're selling, which is like account receivables, right? And the revenue recognition to do all that. Let's say you are paying to the suppliers for procuring your infrastructure related assets, right? That is, account payable, right? How do you handle when you pay the suppliers, right? It's not simple to, it's not like one or two suppliers. There will be thousands and, probably close to 1 million or maybe more, depending on how big you are a company. How do you think the payments are something? Do you think there will be a manual payment? Certainly not. Excuse me, guys. So basically, using in the financial suite, right, you're going to get various different modules like account payables, account receivables, right? I'll show you a quick slide for you, so that you can relate, which have a good architectural reference. Okay, is my screen visible? Okay, so you see under financials, right? So generally you have general ledger, account payables, right? Account receivables. This is where, like, the fixed assets, all the employee assets, your tables, shares, and whatever you procure to maintain offices are all, going to be the fixed assets, right? The cash management, right? This is where you hold the company's bank accounts and also your customer bank accounts, supplier bank accounts, everything will store there so that the automatic refunds, automatic payments can be happen using that. And the tax, obviously, right? If you are paying to the suppliers, you will pay depending on what kind of good you procured. There will be a different kind of slabs, 18% GST, some other percent, different types of GSTs in India. That similarly for other countries, different taxation systems, right? Intercompany expenses. These are all advanced basically. So my whole point is, under financials, right, you get basically all these different modules, we call them, right? Under procurement, right, you get all the supplier onboarding, supplier information, procuring the items, basically all that elements will come under the procurement, right? Similarly, there is something called project management to maintain all the project related aspects, building, costing, resource management, all this stuff, right? So generally within the financial management, that's what you see. In the procurement, you see all the procurement related elements. So within, if I talk about the human capital management, right? So you see, there are various different things. When the moment you onboard, employ someone, right? Depending on which location,
all the employee related records, their addresses, phone numbers, and elements comes in. Benefits, right? Many companies offer benefits like health insurance, retirement plans, and stuff like that, right? And employee is also associated with time and labor, which means like the time sheets and the cost and labor cost analysis, everything, per hour, what's the cost, and all those things have to be maintained, right? And similarly, talent management is more like recruiting new people, and performance management, your all yearly appraisals, based on how you performed, what's the performance, and then payroll. There will be a payroll, right? Every month, and there will be a payroll, and then the tax related elements. So basically, your yeah, so your HCM deals with all that, and your SCM is all about like your inventories and order management. All these elements comes in the supply chain management, right? We see the project portfolio management, and within the CRM, right? Again, CRM is a space where just a second. Yeah, you can see the supply chain management here, like you have various different order management related things, pricing related things, the products, what are all the products you are selling, fulfilling them, maintaining the inventory, all that comes in the SCM. Coming to the customer service, which means CRM, we call CX, okay? So within the customer, right, all your sales, all your services, all your marketing campaigns, everything really falls under the CRM. Okay, so I mean, in a nutshell, right, Oracle Fusion Applications offers a complete suite of product across, different verticals, which can fit to almost all kind of business needs. Understand? So it's not that any company you take, they are going to have either any of these operations, either all of them or some of them. So it is easy for them to pick up and then configure according to their business needs. Any questions here? Okay. So quickly coming into the architecture, right? So first of all, understand one point before I get into this architecture. So the application we are talking for, I mean, in this demo, which is Oracle Fusion Applications, this is basically a SaaS offering. Understand? It is a SaaS offering, or it's I mean, which means basically we access this via browser, and Oracle is going to give, depending on what you choose as a customer. Let's say if you opt for, at the end, you as a customer for that SaaS product, you are certainly going to opt for any of this. Let's say if your business is something to do with financial related aspects, you take the financial suite of products. So everything is accessible by a web browser, and you don't really worry about managing that. You don't really worry about patching, don't really worry about security aspects of it. Okay, but what is there in the customer's scope is that they configure, they manage, I mean, they operate it, and they maintain the security, who can access, who cannot access, and all those kind of things. Understand? So now having said that, right, this architecture is just informative. Technically, this is like SaaS product, right? None of us really have any control on the database layer or the middleware layer. It is just only the UI layer where you can log in and you can configure according to your business needs. Understand? So when I say configure, it is very simple. Let's say take the example of same Amazon here again, right? Amazon fulfillment centers, like let's say offices or fulfillment center, to take two of them. There is an office in Hyderabad. If there is an office in Bangalore, that means they need to legally establish, right? It's a business. They're establishing it legally with Amazon India Limited, Private Limited, or something like that, right? So it's physically they're establishing an entity there. Understand? So they need to configure everything according to what their addresses, ship to addresses, bill to addresses. There are various different legalities, everything. So when I say configuration, it's about configuring about their companies from business units, operating units, legal entities, these kind of things. So at an architectural level, right, on topmost side, you have product families. Okay, you have whatever when I say product from whatever I just explained will be there. Depending on what your license is, depending on what you opt for at the time of licensing, what you purchased, accordingly, those products will be made available to you in the UI. Once those products are made available, you can start configuring them according to your business needs. In the middle layer, right, this is where what we call the middleware component, all the technical related components will be there. Like there will be the search, then there will be something, Oracle uses something called crawl search framework, because anything you search in the application, this crawl search helps you, effectively get back to the desired results. Similarly, there will be some jobs. Okay, enterprise jobs basically. So don't worry if these concepts are sounding new, because some of the elements we just need to know as a concept, but except from an interview standpoint, they don't have much significance on the real-time work standpoint, right? But some of them do have a real-time significance where we do hands-on. For example, we pretty much deal with this ESS, enterprise scheduler, we call ESS jobs. We run them a lot. We can also create brand new and those kind of things, right? There will be something called Fusion middleware extension for applications, right? This is, let's say, an important concept, right? Now, I'm sure many of you might also have this question in your mind. How come a standard suite of products which will fit to any business out there available, right? Certainly not, right? It's like every business is unique. There are certain standard elements, but there are at the same time there are certain specific custom processes which maybe the Oracle Fusion is not self-sufficient to cater those needs. In that case, people think of creating extensions, which means extension in a sense, you can choose some other platform to build your additional UI and link that and ensure that that will work in conjunction with your Oracle Fusion application. So those extensions or something, is also an integral part. You can extend so that your both applications work hand in hand. Okay. Moving on to the Fusion middleware components here. Application development framework. Frankly speaking, we don't do anything here. It is just that all the Oracle Fusion applications are, built. The pages are built using this ADF framework. Okay, and like I told, certainly Oracle Business Intelligence, it is again an integral part. As a part of the training, we will be doing a lot of reports development and all. Okay, and some important elements are like your data integrator. Again, like this is also pretty advanced. The whole idea is like data integrator means when there is a need of exporting the data out of your Oracle Fusion for the data warehousing reasons, certainly there are certain integral elements which are part of the middleware components. So all in all, right, you see the SOA is there, the identity management for accessing all this, the web center. These are all, couple of them we discussed in the, web standards, right? Standard architecture, right? So these are all part of this. These are all behind the screens. In this, except Oracle Business Intelligence, basically you really don't make any hands-on on any of them. They're all basically based on the WebLogic server. This is like a web server. Understand? So this is just an informative. It's important to know the behind the screens architecture. If anyone asks a question, interview question, these kind of things are going to be helpful. At the bottom, this is where your database, all your data related to their applications and middleware schemas will be stored there. Sorry, what's the question? Hello, is there a question? Okay. Okay, we'll talk about this slide and we will conclude the session. So basically, I told you right in the prior slides, there will be, we discussed about software as a service, platform as a service, PaaS, infrastructure as a service, and then on-premise, right? We'll come from, right to left, okay? You see the software as a service. This is where we just get a software as a service. You take off example of email, I mean Gmail or Outlook email like that. You are getting a service. The same is the case. Even Oracle Fusion applications are SaaS offering. Okay, you get as a service. You don't have any control on data. Matlab, you can certainly do the data manipulations, inserting the data, updating the data, deleting the data using UI only. Not, you don't get the access to the databases and things like that. The middleware aspects of it, the OS level, the virtualizations, the storages, server, networking, none of this is in our control or the customer control. Everything is owned by Oracle. It is just that it is giving you a suite of products. You go ahead and configure, you go ahead and create, you go ahead and configure your application, create your reports, right? Create, do your inbound, outbound data imports. That's all. Okay. Whereas coming to the platform as a service, right? Here, basically, you can create your own applications, basically. Okay, which means you can build your applications, but you don't have any control on hosting level information, server level information, all that. You have a control of your own application, whatever you're building, and you have a full control on the data you are injecting. Okay, but you don't have any control on any other elements like runtime, middleware, or anything like that. Okay, that's called a platform as a service. Let's say the classic example is if you want to build your own web application, you can certainly choose the platform as a service and build your own application. Okay, and you maintain the data, you maintain the application, but not the what kind of server I am need to use, what should be the capacity of the server, how much RAM it should be, how much storage it should need, and all those things. Okay, now there is another thing called infrastructure as a service. See, these are all choosing these licenses, is depending on your use case, right? Depending on your industry, right? So it all varies, right? So basically, now in the infrastructure as a service, you certainly have control on the applications you develop, the data, the middleware elements of it, the operating system. You have the full control on these elements, but virtualizing, right, in a single server you can have multiple virtualized servers so that they can scale horizontally, vertically, that whole concepts. So again, what kind of servers they are going to get, the storage element of it, networking element of it, is we don't have any control on the infrastructure as a service. Lastly, on-premise is the place where it's within our own data center, no more on cloud, but here you have full control on everything. That's why, right, people in the whole trend, you might have heard the buzzword cloud computing, right, over the almost like 5-6 years down the line. If you go back, this word is pretty buzzing up, and many companies are going to the cloud. Many companies are going to the cloud because excuse me, because many companies maintaining network, server, these are all a lot of capital expenditure. Understand? Many companies are going toward, I don't want to have this burden of dealing with servers and all. Imagine, look the products, guys, like, your Jepto, your Uber, your Ola, your Rapido, their whole energy is spent on the application design, how effectively they can serve the community, how effectively they can add the features, but less bothered about their infrastructure layer, because most of these companies they're all SaaS based, first of all, but they don't really, worry about the underlying infrastructure. They choose any of the cloud vendors like, EBS, or, OC, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or, Azure services, or AWS, right? They just choose them, and then, they only focus on their application development. Okay. So I'll stop here with this. And anyone have any questions? We'll certainly continue tomorrow to
I
have.
have a question on the platform as a service.
Sorry?
So I have a question on a platform as a service, for
Sure, please.
example.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that if we need to build something, right, we would use platform as a service.
Right.
So in that, let's say I need to have my Oracle product, one of the product families, for example, financials. So will that be deployed in that
No,
in that
not like
service?
that. Not like that. See,
Okay.
anything comes as a SaaS offering cannot be deployed anywhere outside of that, right? In any other offerings. Very simple, because the point is when we say platform as a service, it serves more for the extension needs. You wanted to build
Okay.
something as an extension, or you wanted to build something as a standalone, product, so that
Got
it
it.
which where you did not find a similar application in the SaaS offering. None of the modules are fitting your business needs. Then you go
Okay.
and build your brand new application in the platform as a service.
So you need to have a SaaS for any of the Oracle product families, and if you want to extend, then you'll go to a PaaS.
Exactly. That's the classic example. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
As part of this training, are we covering the extensions in Fusion applications?
Yeah, we will be giving an overview. See, there is another element called Oracle Integration Cloud, Swapna. Okay, so that's where we deal with a lot of integrations. As a part of that Oracle Integration Cloud, we will be giving some introduction about VBCS, Visual Builder Cloud Service. It's a PaaS offering basically, which is like where we can build applications. So as a part of this training, yeah, I mean, we won't be doing a super advanced use cases, but certainly we'll be introducing you to the extension space and, building some, basic applications to perform, different update, insert, kind of operations.
Okay, but we are going through the personalizations, correct?
Very much. I mean, yes, personalizations and customization options we have. Yes, very much.
Okay. So how much technical aspect are we going to cover as part of this training?
So technical will, most of it is technical, Swapna. So we'll be giving mainly the functional overview. Like say some 20% of it is like the functional overview, because at the end, for anyone to navigate in the technical space, right, they need to at least have some functional
Right.
background, like what exactly the P2P cycle, what are the UI, how do you really create a transaction, what is an O2C cycle, and those kind of basic elements. For example, the infrastructure, the enterprise structure, what is a business unit, what is a ledger, right, what is an inventory org, these kind of things are needed. So I would say 10 to 20% of functional, the majority of it is, technical.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So, I mean, tomorrow I have a plan to walk you all through the course content, but, and also we'll do some quick glimpses into the application UI and, OIC UI and things like that. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much for everyone taking out time and joining this call. Have a good evening and good day, depending on where you are. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll connect tomorrow same time.
Thank you, Satya. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.